Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, the podcast where we bring you inside the world of joint ventures, strategic partnerships, and powerful collaborations. Whether you're looking to expand your network, find new referral partners, or scale your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello again. Welcome back to Partnership for Profits. We have another repeat guest on with us today. We have Todd Villarrubia, who was on with us a little while ago. We had a great time with him on the show, decided to have him back. I haven't spoken to Todd, so I'm super excited to have him here. I'm Will Brooks again. I think I said my name before. I don't know if I did or not, but this is about Todd here today. Todd, thanks so much for coming back and talking with us. How you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. So Todd, you are, I don't want to say former attorney because you're still an attorney, right?
Oh yeah.
But you've started Fountainhead Global, which we're going to get into. Are you really not practicing law anymore? Is that correct to say?
Oh no, I'm still practicing law,
Still doing
very
your thing.
much so. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just
Well,
they're kind of sister companies.
gotcha. Well, let's get into let's get into you and tell me a little bit about your background, and then let's get into Fountainhead Global and what you have going on there with
Sure.
this.
So I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm a board certified expert in estate planning and administration. There's only about 100 of us in Louisiana, and there's even fewer of us that, in addition to having that designation by the Bar Association, I'm also a tax attorney. I have a master's degree in tax law, and that really, frankly, sets us apart from most firms out there. There's a lot of people that call themselves estate planners, but who don't have the tax knowledge and experience that we do. That really brings a lot of weight to the table and can save our clients millions of dollars. You know, when people ask me, what do? I tell them we've helped thousands of entrepreneurs protect billions of dollars from the government, taxes, and creditors. That's what we do.
So how, with estate planning, how important is tax knowledge to doing estate planning?
Really, it impacts everything. If you're a high net worth individual, you're making a lot of money. You know, people don't realize the bottom 4% of Americans only pay 50%. I'm sorry, let me restate that. The bottom 50% of Americans only pay 4% of the income tax. The top 10% pay 76%. So the whole code, the Internal Revenue Code, is really designed for the top 10% that are paying the heavy taxes with all the provisions they have. And this new One Big Beautiful Bill Act has really rejiggered the tax code pretty significantly.
So the tax knowledge is super important for those high worth individuals in.
Yeah, I think so, because it impacts your retirement plans, your business interests that you're selling, asset sales, real estate holdings. There's tax implications to all of it. And what we unfortunately find is that most entrepreneurs have a CPA that is only very reactive, and they're very good at, filing returns and reporting the information you give them. But very few CPAs out there are proactively planning for income and estate tax mitigation strategies. And that's what we do, is we bring the proactivity to it so that we're planning ahead instead of just reporting what's happened last year.
So how do you stay on top of because I feel like the tax code changes all the time. So how do you stay on top of that kind of stuff? Because
it's 80,000 pages, plus there's regulations and case law. I just, I'm a member of, many different organizations and groups that we stay on top of the latest cutting edge stuff. They're always coming out with something new in trust law or estate tax planning, income tax planning strategies. So we vet them because not all of them are sound, and then the ones that are good, then we can recommend those to our clients.
So when did you launch Fountainhead Global? When did that launch?
So it's been in the works for almost a decade. I've been looking at setting up a family office. We didn't officially start until this year, 2025. We finally kind of developed a minimum viable product for it. And then we've been working on the marketing for it now. We really are targeting the top 1% of entrepreneurs that are doing 5 million of gross revenue and above, or that have a net worth of 10 million and above, for our ideal clients.
So what spurred the idea to kind of to start this new venture?
It's been coming for a long time. As a tax attorney, as I said, I've worked with thousands of entrepreneurs, from small mom and pops to multi-$100 million operating businesses. And what I've seen is two things. Number one, the client, the entrepreneur, doesn't know what good tax mitigation, good investment advice, good legal looks like. You know, my uncle, who was really successful, told me when I was a young man, and little did I know this is really the foundation of a family office. He told me, he said, Todd, every good businessman needs a good tax attorney, a good financial advisor, and a good CPA. And it's true. If you have those three on your team, you have a mini family office, to protect you. But most people don't know what a good tax attorney looks like. They don't know that there are tax attorneys out there. They just think, their corporate attorney is good enough. They may have met their financial advisor at the golf club and don't know whether he's really good at what he does or not. They don't know whether he's a fiduciary, how much he's charging, whether he's outperforming the market or underperforming. They just don't have the time to look at all those things against relevant benchmarks. Most of the times, they don't have a proactive CPA on their side. So we bring those experts to kind of not to replace your existing people, but to optimize those
Mhm.
relationships. So we'll work with your existing CPA and your existing financial advisor, because unlike most family offices, we don't charge a percentage of assets under management. We actually charge a flat fee based upon what you need us to do.
So I want to ask you about that phrase. You said it twice in what you just said, family office. Because that's a new phrase to me. I was speaking with another estate planning lawyer a couple of months ago, and they mentioned the same phrase. And in my mind, when I hear the term family office in related to a lawyer, I'm immediately thinking about divorce, child custody. Like that's when I hear family related to law, I think of family law. So is that a newer phrase, or is that something that's been around for a while? And what give me like the layman's definition
Yeah,
of a
sure.
family office.
So it really started back in the late 1800s with the Rockefeller family.
So it's an old term, okay.
Yeah, it's been around for over 100 years. And what they did is they realized that they had all these different advisors. They had an estate planning attorney, a tax attorney, a corporate attorney, an IP attorney. They might have had a financial advisor, a life insurance agent, a retirement plan specialist.
Right.
And they have all these relationships, and no one is quarterbacking the thing. Everybody's in their own silos, and they may be pretty good at what they do, but nobody's coordinating a holistic, integrated, and optimized plan. That's where Fountainhead Global comes in. We get all of your team together to have regular, strategic planning meetings, and then we proactively plan. So,
Okay.
for example, starting up a new business now, it depends on what your goals are. It may behoove you to be an LLC, taxable as a partnership or sole proprietorship, but under the new rules with 1202 of the code, it may behoove you now to be a C corporation because of some of the exclusions on an eventual exit. So those are the kinds of things that you can't wait till the last minute and then go sell your company and expect to reap the tax benefits. You have to plan ahead. And that's really what we do is we bring the whole team together, and then we optimize the three main areas: the legal, the tax, and then the financial planning.
Okay. So you
And then
said
it's
like,
morphed, so they had what's called a single family office, the Rockefeller family. Some modern day single family offices where they hire their own team of experts. Oprah Winfrey has one, Elon Musk has one, Bezos
sure.
has one. They all have a single family office that costs millions of dollars to implement because they hire their own experts. What this is a fractional family office, so that instead of hiring us full time, you have part time help at a fraction of the cost, but you still have access to. We have a team of over 100 different experts in subspecialty areas. So we have income tax experts, we have risk mitigation experts, we have people that specialize in business advisory and growth strategies for your business. So we can bring all these people to the table that are true experts with proven strategies to help maximize your life.
Okay. So it sounds like it's kind of like treating your family's assets, and they may be related to a business, but treating the familial assets as its own corporation.
It's running the business and family aspects holistically and in an integrated way. Correct.
Huh. Okay. Cool. I mean, this
Because
is
as
all new
you
to
get
me,
wealthier, your life, the complexity goes up tremendously. And
right?
the problem is when you have that much complexity, people don't know how or why you're doing the things you are doing. And sometimes you're just doing them because that's the way they've always been done. And that's not necessarily the best strategy to use going forward.
Okay. All right. This is super interesting. Because I'm not in that world.
Yeah.
So yet, let me say I'm not in that world yet. But it's super interesting to hear that that's kind of how people are approaching this that are in that high level. You mentioned earlier that you guys are kind of in the early days and you're kind of getting marketing going. What do you guys have strategically planned to kind of reach out to and to find those high net worth folks that are kind of in that top tier?
Yeah, we're doing a lot of presentations to entrepreneurs organization and YPO forums as well.
Hmm.
Speaking to a lot of CPAs because CPAs have a lot of good high net worth clients. So we're showing the CPAs how they can broaden their focus and make more revenue. So that's been a big push is to kind of market some of what we do to CPAs specifically so that we can partner with them and working with their clients.
And you're doing that on a nationwide basis. You guys are doing
Yeah,
this rolling out
yeah,
all over the country.
we have clients around the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is in this world of high net worth people, what does legacy mean in that world?
Well, I think for a lot of it's a good question. For a lot of our clients, they're looking at if you think about it, their estate plan is going to be the insurance policy to carry out their wishes of a lifetime's worth of work, right? Everything you've worked hard for can be summed up in your assets and in the principles and legacy you want to leave. So we really kind of work on two different planes. One is to set up legal structures like dynasty trust, for example, that literally go on for generations. So we have clients that have either substantial business interests or real estate holdings that want this to not only last for the children's generation, but they have multiple generations in their business, and those people are setting up these dynasty trusts. And then secondly, we're working on family dynamics where we can establish a mission, vision, and values for the family so that those shared values that go beyond money can be passed down through the generations. So, for example, one of the values may be we always protect each other through legal structures, right? So, we have clients that are worth a lot, but their son's getting married, as a simple example, and we want to make sure the whole family's protected. So we're going to do a separate property or prenup agreement for the son. Why
Hmm.
is that? Well, because at some point the son's going to inherit from his parents a $40 million empire. We want to make sure that when he does that, it can't get taken through some divorce process, right? So we set up those structures to make sure, and then we align it with the family's values and goals.
So it's interesting you bring up prenup because that kind of leads into what I wanted to something else I wanted to ask you about. It's not specifically about prenuptial agreements, but it's about the emotional side of wealth planning and estate planning, and where you get into things like entitlement or conflict, or there's an emotional side to this for sure. And I'm wondering how you guys help families navigate that emotion. And like if you've got a if you're entering into a prenup with somebody, that's going to bring up emotions with people. And maybe, so I'm just kind of curious, what's the strategy there, and do you guys have things in place to kind of help with that?
You know, I always start with personal, stories, frankly.
Hmm.
Even in my own case, I didn't follow my own advice. And I got married and went through just a horrific divorce, that could have all been avoided, not just from a financial standpoint and the havoc it wreaked, but from an emotional standpoint, and from a having to waste time litigating standpoint. And I've seen other clients that have gone through it, but um, that's usually, estate planning by its very nature. What I find is that it's best to address it directly. I tell people there's two things that are certain. One is you're going to die, and the second is we don't know when that's going to be. So you're either going to have a plan or you're not. And we can talk about how upsetting it is to talk about death and disability, but there's a good chance that you're going to become disabled, and there's a certain chance you're going to die. So you either want to let the government decide what happens or you're going to decide. And the good thing about working with us is that when you decide to work with us, over 30 years, we've done thousands and thousands of transactions. Not one of my wills or estate plans or tax returns has ever been overturned by the government or a court or an IRS or anybody. So we have a good track record of doing solid work so that when you hire us, we may not be the cheapest firm in town, but we're going to give you the highest quality that you can sleep at night knowing it's going to be carried out.
That's great. That's what you want, for sure. So what do you envision Fountainhead looking like 5-10 years down the road? What are you hoping that you guys become for the families that you serve?
There's only so much capacity that we have. We only take on a limited number of clients every year.
Right.
And my goal is 5 years from now to be serving 100 clients that are in the top 1% of their business industry.
Okay. That's a good goal.
Yeah.
That's going to be handling a lot of assets for sure. So what's one move that somebody can make today that, to start thinking like a family office, even if they don't feel like they're ultra wealthy?
You
What's
know,
something? Yeah,
some
go
of
ahead.
it is just getting your attorney and CPA and financial advisor to the same table. Ideally, you'd be doing it quarterly to proactively plan. That's what we do.
Hmm.
But at least do it annually. Have a family conference and then talk about, hey, I'm buying this property because the attorney may want to put it in an LLC. And if he puts it in an LLC, then the CPA needs to know he needs to file a separate return. And the financial advisor may say, okay, where are we going to invest the excess rent money? You get everybody on the team playing together and coordinating so that you can maximize it. The second thing, like I mentioned a little earlier, is for those people that are looking to exit their business 5 to 10 years from now, you really want to look at maybe setting up a C corporation instead of an LLC taxable as a partnership because of Section 1202. They just liberalized the rules under the Big Beautiful Act, and now you can exclude up to $15 million of gain from the sale of qualified small business stock. So it's for people looking to exit, it's a really strong way to, and we can actually multiply that exclusion if it's structured in advance of the sale. So
Hmm.
we can get multiple $15 million exclusions for a family.
That's amazing. Um, I want to ask you a weird question. This is not one that I think we sent to you ahead of time. It's just something I often wonder about. People always think about winning the lottery, and think about what they would do. I think the Powerball is like $350 million or something like that right now. If
Yeah.
let's say someone wins that Powerball jackpot by themselves, they're the sole winner, and they get that, and they call you up and they say, "Hey, Todd, I just won the Powerball. What in the hell am I supposed to do now?" What kind of advice would you give to somebody that comes into that kind of windfall, and like how to take it? Do you take it in bulk? Do you take it over time? And then what do you do once you have all that money coming in? Because people win the lottery all the time and they end up blowing through vast sums of money very quickly because they don't know what they're doing. So let's say hypothetically, let's say I won and I called you up and I said, "Hey Todd, I just won the Powerball. I don't know what to do. How do I make this? What do I need to do? What's the plan here?"
The first thing we do is we ensure your privacy by contributing the ticket into a private LLC so that nobody knows you won.
Okay.
Secondly, we spread that LLC around different family members so that we can get bracket run up in the income tax brackets to lower the overall income tax bill. And then third is we potentially use trusts to asset protect it so that if anybody gets sued, they can't get to it. And yes, we've had clients win the lottery before.
Really?
Yes.
I always, everybody thinks about that. Like, if I was to win this, what would I do? And I always think about, I think the first thing I'd do is I'd call a lawyer and be like, "Hey, what do I got to do here to
The
protect
problem
myself?"
is you don't know what kind of lawyer to call, and that's the issue. Most lawyers wouldn't know what to do with this.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, I'm going to call a tax lawyer or,
Yeah.
um, you know, I- now that I know when I win the lottery, I'm calling Fountainhead
Okay.
Global, and that's what that's how we're gonna figure out what to do with it. That's cool, man. Yeah, that's something, like I said, that's people always wonder what they would do. Like, if you're like, "Oh, what would I spend? What would I buy? What would I do?" And I'm like, I would want that to last as long as I possibly could make it last. And the best way to do that, I would think, would be to create a family office so that you have that
Yeah.
thing running for you for the rest of your life. That's very cool. Do you work with I don't want specific names obviously, but do you work with athletes? Do you work with celebrities? Are there people like that are in your world?
Yes. Professional athletes, actors. We've got a fair amount, but most of them are business owners or
Right.
professional. Most of our clients are either entrepreneurs with 10 or more employees, or highly skilled professionals, doctors, lawyers, engineers, stuff like that.
Because you hear about so many athletes who get crazy contracts
Yeah.
and they burn through it and they retire and they have nothing left. And then you think about someone like Shaquille O'Neal, for example. He's a billionaire, I think, at this point, or he's close to it, and he has diversified like crazy. I'm positive that he has a family office in place for all of the things that he has going
I
on.
don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Yeah, I wonder what it is. I always wonder why, how oh, why that happens so often. Is it just lack of education? Is it just having the wrong people on your
Yeah,
team?
it's a shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves thing. Most people, when I think the statistics are that within a year, 90% of people that come into a windfall have spent all the money.
Within a
Uh,
year?
yeah, within a year. It's awful. People just don't know how to deal with it and they think it's going to last forever. They start getting all these people around them that start wanting money and having all these business ideas. They don't know enough about business to invest and invest in some bad things. The fortunate ones like Magic Johnson or Shaquille, they've been able to diversify and get some sound advice. But unfortunately, statistically, the averages are much against them. Usually, most people that win lotteries or that are professional athletes are destitute by the time their career is over.
That's
Not to
so
mention, a lot of athletes don't make as much as you hear the headlines, Juan Soto and people
yeah.
like that. but you don't realize that the average, football player is only making about $1 million a year when you factor
And
in
they're
taxes and
yeah,
agent fees, and the average stay is 4 years in the
or
league.
yeah,
So
it's pretty short.
they don't really have a good opportunity to make a lot over a sustained period of time.
So the to me, what I'm hearing is if you have a financial windfall, whether it's happenstance by winning the lottery, or if you're a professional athlete, or if your business just takes off and goes gangbusters, and somebody offers to buy it, like you got to have a family office in place to ensure to protect yourself really and protect your family.
Well, we're going to make sure that everything is optimized so that you net as much as possible. We're going to
Right.
help grow your business until you're ready to exit. And then at exit, we're going to have it set up so that you minimize the tax bill.
It's sound advice. It's sound
Yeah.
advice. Todd, tell people where they can find you, where they can find Fountainhead.
So our office number is 833 USA Wealth, WEALTH, and it's 833 USA Wealth. And you can reach my direct email at todd@lawealthplan.com. That's LAWEALTHPLAN.com.
Awesome. We've got a lot of entrepreneurs who follow us and watch what they're doing. So I hope that watch what we're doing. So I hope that they'll reach out to you and contact you if you are an entrepreneur and things are going great for you, or you want things to go better for you. Make sure you hit up Todd and Fountainhead Global. Todd, thank you so much for coming back on and talking with us today. I really enjoyed the conversation. I learned a lot. I know I could learn a whole lot more. I got a lot more to learn, but I really appreciate you coming on. And those of you who are watching right now, we appreciate you watching right now. If you're watching after the fact, appreciate you watching the recording. And we'll be back tomorrow with another episode of Partnership for Profits. Todd, thank you again. Really appreciate you popping in today, and we'll have you back on again soon. And I want to talk to you about some other pods with some other attorneys that we work with that I think you might love to go on and chat with those guys too. We'll talk about that off the air, but appreciate everybody joining us, and we will see you again tomorrow right here on Partnership for Profits.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Partnerships for Profit. We hope you've gained valuable insights on how to form profitable partnerships and take your business to the next level. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Got a partnership story to share or someone you'd like to see featured on the show? Reach out to us. Until next time, keep building those partnerships for profit.